Jeg tror det blir bra. Jeg er veldig kjekt tema, jeg må si det. Litt sånn, jeg vet ikke, alle er norske her nå? Eller Bayazid?
Ja, helt det var veldig riktig uttalt.
Ja?
Det er tyrkisk navn, jeg tror.
Ja. Bayazid, ja. Nei, da kan jeg jo bare snakke engelsk sånn sett. Jeg har jo litt dialekt, så det stikker ut så enkelt å forstå. Yeah, so this topic we're going to talk about today is very interesting, and I think it's going to be a good after discussion. And that's really how I put it in the presentation, that it's like we're going through the habits and stuff, and then we can discuss different habits and behaviors that we together can form to become better with agile. And I think we all can benefit from this topic because it's very like core in almost every discipline we do within agile. So I will just start sharing my screen. 2 seconds. Voldsom lyd. Skal vi se her. Hva av skjermene ser dere nå? Ser dere den presenteringsskjermen, eller ser dere selve presentasjonen, kun den? Jeg ser ikke.
Selve presentasjonen.
Kjempe. Ja, men da har vi det, vet du. Great. So today I will be talking about agile habits. And this topic will be presented by Bergen Lean and Agile Leadership Meetup. We meet now once a month to talk about different ways to improve within Agile and Lean. So let's look at the definition of habits before we dive in. So a habit is a behavior that starts as a choice and then becomes a constant pattern over time. The picture below demonstrates this good. It's like almost the first habit we learn, and that is to brush your teeth. And that normally happen with that you take up the toothbrush, you take on the toothpaste, and then you take some water on it. Or the different way around, that you take up the toothbrush, you take on the water, and then you put the toothpaste on it. So you have the same habit, but different behaviors within the habit. It depends on the order you have. So if you were born, if you have a family that taught you to first take up your toothpaste, toothbrush, then take water, and then toothpaste. After a few years of doing this, if you meet a person that doing it the other order, it will be like doing the same process but in a different way. But this habit gives the same result, but it's just the way of thinking, and this is how we're going to discuss this topic today, from over like a layer above a bird eye view on the habits itself. So my goal today is to give you a way of thought around agile habits that can help you increase your productivity. And I will be doing the presentation in a bit different way than a normal presentation. It's like a mini demo, but the red thread through the whole presentation will be around habits. And of course, in the end, we will be discussing more precise topic about agile habits. So the first habit I think everybody should implement is to learn how to use a calendar daily and plan your day and week. Most people have learned how to use a schedule, but study shows that only a few people are using a calendar on a daily basis. And most people know the schedule from the school where they had a full plan for the day. They knew when the lesson started, and they knew when the lesson was finished, and they had a program. So I want to do it like build up a plan and a daily calendar with the agile habits in it, just to give an overview over how this can be implemented. So the first thing that everybody should do, of course, this is just how I think around it. It's not like this is the right way, but this is how my thought around this is to schedule when you're going to wake up, and if you shower, then take the shower as well. The next thing you want to do is to schedule your travel time, and a way to increase your long-term result would be to turn this travel time to your personal development time as well. Again, this is different from people if you are driving in a car with people, but if you have alone time in the travel period, this is a perfect time to put on your headset and set on an audible or something similar to increase your skill within your goal. Then we come to the agile part. That is to schedule your department stand-up. I will not be talking about the method itself, what the stand-up is. We had different topics about this where we had a walkthrough, so I hope everybody knows what I'm talking about now. So the first thing is to schedule your department stand-ups. This should be like on a very set time every day. People shouldn't just take a stand-up after they drink a coffee. They should know when the startup for the department is. The next, after doing the department stand-up, would be to schedule your team stand-up. Maybe you only need one stand-up where your department is your team, but if you are a part of the department, that would be two different stand-up. And I also use the recommended time for 2-week sprint, which is 15 minutes stand-up. And then I would schedule your backlog refinement. This will give, if you use the concept I'm doing, that I do a bit every day, so I use a half hour every day. This over 2 weeks would equal a bit more than, it would equal 5 hours. This is, of course, preference. You can schedule it as a block, but it should be scheduled within your calendar when. So the message here is when you need to set up time to do this backlog refinement, and this should be scheduled. The next on your calendar should be schedule your sprint planning. So if you have a 2-week sprint, this would be in the beginning of the sprint, and I would set up 3 hours at least for this process. If your team is a bit less, of course, you can use less time, but the message here is just to create a habit of making the daily, weekly plan where you schedule everything you're going to do. After that, I would schedule when you're going to have the sprint review and when you're going to have the sprint live demo. The sprint review, we all know what this is. This is where we present, where we walk through what we have done in the sprint. And the sprint live demo is when you present to the stakeholders what you have released within the sprint that you had. If you're not doing a sprint live demo, sending an overview report to the stakeholders can be changed with this time block. Next on the schedule is to schedule in the sprint retrospective. This is where you're going through with your team and discuss how the sprint went, what went right, what went wrong, and how you can improve. They call it a sprint retrospective, but sometimes I want to call it sprint optimization. But yeah, it needs to be scheduled, and the team needs to know when we will be having this meeting, so they can prepare if they have anything they want to take up, because this is really the team's time. This is when you discuss real topics that is very important. I can hear somebody. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just a question. So this is bi-weekly, is that correct?
This is this is bi-weekly, yeah. So yeah. Every 2 weeks. I'm just trying to push this in on one calendar just to make a point. But normally, right, this would be in the beginning of the 2 weeks, and this would be in the beginning, in the end of last week. But for demonstration purposes, I just included everything in 1 week to get a better overview. Did that answer the question? Okay. Next I would do is to schedule your breaks and training. Of course, and not everybody is training, but I think if you train, it's good to know when you're going to train, because your body is your temple, like they say. And it's also good to know when you're going to have your lunches and dinners. And if you eat more frequently, of course, you schedule that. This is just an example. Then you can plan around it, and your time off. And when you planned your lunch, your dinner time and training, now it's time. This is more for developers than maybe leaders, but like the sprint focus blocks, I call them. It's time where you're going to work on your first priority in the sprint. And this is time you schedule in, because this prehands. And this is time when you take on flight mode on your phone. And that is a habit of itself. I think a very good agile habit is to, when you work on your task, so it's not just planning of the task, but it's also execution of the sprint. You should know when you will be working on your sprint task. And when you work on these sprint tasks, you should have this block of time where you turn off everything else, social media and your phone, and just focus on the sprint. And we can come back more if people wondering why, if they haven't heard of time blocks before. But time blocks, they say it like they have done a lot of research for magazine, where they interviewed the top 500 executive officers, and they talked about the schedules. And one of the red thread that everybody talked about is that you need a flow zone, they called it, the zone where you going to execute. And also they did follow up these executives and CEOs, and they found out from 1.5 hours, they only had like 27 minutes of productive time within that block. And that was the average CEO. And the study also showed that in this block, if you take up your phone and look at notification, it would take around 10 minutes to regenerate your focus where you were before you took up your phone. So that's why I'm saying that it's smart to schedule the time so people can't reach you, because the most important task you will be doing in that period is to execute your sprint prioritized task that you plan in your sprint planning.
Rafael?
Yeah?
Aziz has a question.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Britta and Rafael. No, I just was focusing on the small letters because it's very small.
Oh, sorry.
I just wondered, is this like the personal Kanban or the sprint Kanban for the whole team?
This is not a Kanban. Sorry for the size. I should maybe make it bigger, but
no, it's
this,
okay. Yeah.
This is just a normal calendar, a digital calendar, Google Calendar, where I prioritize, where I'm talking about the habits within the sprint and the blocks of time you should schedule within the sprint. So all these blocks you see, it's not Kanban, because Kanban is the task. It's just it's just random where I schedule them. Just to,
I mean, this is like personal for the Scrum Master, not for the not the calendar for the whole sprint team. Scrum team.
I would say it's this, like the topic I'm talking about today, like having a plan and a weekly plan and creating your blocks. It is for everybody. A leader in this case would have maybe less of the sprint focus blocks and have more of the meeting blocks, and the team developer and the developers would have more of the sprint blocks, focus blocks, and less of the meetings. Vice versa, and of course people have different roles, so different roles would have different activities, so of course, but it's just the concept of having it scheduled when you're going to do the sprint and when you're going to do the agile habits of like sprint planning, retrospective review, and backlog refinement and so on.
Good. Thanks.
The next thing is to schedule your meetings. I know this can be a very hard thing to do, like, because life happens. But it's good to at least, like, I try to teach my team member, because it's a habit thing. I try to like say, okay, if you want a meeting with me, try to schedule a week before, so I know when we're going to have the meeting. And that the reason I do this is because I want to have control over my time, and I share my calendar so people can always see when I have time. So the later they are, the less chance of them having a meeting with me that week. But that will give you a better overview, you know, the meetings, and of course sometimes the meetings pops up here and there. But then it should be scheduled within the free time zone. You see, like the white dots. This is where they should schedule these meetings. And now to the habit lesson, I think like have most value maybe, is that you should know exactly when your email time is. And this is a very hard thing to do, but it gives so much value to have a set of time for your email. And as you can see here in this, again, it's small letter, but it's just that you pre-schedule when you're going to take time off to look at emails, because normally emails are other people's agenda, and it's normally not task that is related to your sprint. Of course, if you use sprint for if you use email for communication within the task, that's okay. But everybody should like have scheduled their email time. And in the beginning, it's like sugar. It's hard to stay away from the email because many people like have it in the background. But over time, this will increase the productivity if we look at the productivity studies that have been done around emails and how you should treat your email account. So this is just to give you a way of thought how I think you can increase your results by planning your day, by planning your week, and maybe planning a week is too much. What I will say to that is that the Scrum habits they should at least be scheduled on a weekly basis. The rest you can take day by day, maybe to get used to it, like scheduled every day. So every morning or the day before, you know what you're going to do, and I would not recommend it to do in the morning. It should be the day before, because then you wake up and you know exactly what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and when you have time to do other things. And of course it depends from people, but this is just to form the habit. And it was a bit like I talked about that we have to create this a habit, just using a calendar. This that you can do it one time and you forget it the other time. You maybe didn't see the benefit from this. But that's why I want to talk about a bit more about the core in habits, and look at the study on how long it took for people to form a habit. And then we can use this by thinking of the calendar. Okay, so in this case, you're going to like plan your day the day before, and that's the habit you want to create over the next half year. So then you would start in the beginning. You would like start the day before and plan your day, and do it over and over and over again till it's a behavior. And what study shows is that it takes all between 18 and 254 days to create a new habit, and average then is 66 days. So say 2 months. So you would have to do something for 2 months daily to make it, like we talked in the beginning in the definition of habit, an unconscious action, action you don't use energy on. This is how you should think on everything, because it's not only the habits of what I talked about in the calendar, but it can be with everything. If you want to learn a new skill, you should schedule the time when you're going to practice that skill, and you should create that a habit that you do that skill for a little time every day than just taking 3 hours here and then, because making it a habit will give you much better results over time. And it can be maybe easier, but the study technique, of course, that can be discussed as well. It's not the only way to do research and study on. So, and this is the habit loop. It's a reminder, it's routine, and it's reward. It's the reminder, the trigger that initiate the behavior. So that can be taking up your toothbrush or going to the bathroom before you're going to bed. That then remind you of the actual behavior that you are going to perform, which is brushing your teeth, and then you get the benefit from doing the behavior. And if the reward is positive, you want to perform this behavior again. Do this enough of times and an autonomous habit is formed. And that is with everything. It can be with training too. It's like, I like this way of thinking that I once read a book about a coach that was coaching people how to run marathons. And this was, he was like very focused on the new people that was going to start. And what he noticed over time, that the normal behavior would be that a person would come to him and he was very engaged when he met first time. He would do everything as long as possible the first time, but the day after, when the coach went to him, they would be demotivated and they wouldn't complete the training process that they first thought they were going to, because they did too much in the beginning and it was a hassle. So the method he teaches, just doing this routine, this habit loop, was by, okay, the first day, day one, you're going to walk 500 meters. And when you have walked 500 meters, you're going to stop. Day two, you're going to walk 550 meters. And when you have walked 550 meters, then you're going to stop. day 30, and this continue daily with the increase every time, is that you're going to walk 3 kilometers, and when you finish that, you're going off. And you do that till it becomes a behavior. And of course, the reward from walking every day longer will be there for you. You will see you better mentally health, you better physic, everything is changing in your life, as we know training do. But it's like the step-by-step process, the way of thinking I'm trying to to talk about in this presentation, or at least try to teach. And in the end, like when the coach was doing it, it was first, then it's okay, the process, and it's also the steps in the process. So the first thing was walking, then like a mile jogging, and then jogging in the end. And then over a period of time of doing this daily discipline, they would complete a marathon. And this, when looked from the coach perspective, this was the data. I don't know the data, official data on it, but at least what was mentioned in the book, that the client had a 90% higher success rate than the ones that tried to do everything in the beginning and then became a dropout. But of course, there are person that is very self-disciplined, that can just start running, and they start from a much higher level. But I think you can use the same methods around habits in everyday tasks, that if you want to be a better cleaner, you have to start cleaning a bit daily. If you want to be a better reader, you have to start reading a bit daily, and so on and so on. And in the end, as we have talked about the way of thinking, how you should schedule your day, how you should react to these daily tasks, and how you can improve by using a process. I want to talk a bit about the agile habits for leaders. I came across, which I found very well. And when I'm finished just summarizing these, I thought we could have a discussion, like we can start on the first one, then go to second one, and just share what we think about these agile habits for leaders, and maybe how we can implement them, and maybe what we can start doing on a daily basis to become better at these habits. So the first habits for agile leaders will be work closely with customers to understand them. The second one is to keep the team small. The third one is collaborate. The fourth one is measure your progress. The fifth one is make roles and responsibility clear. And this, when we come to discussion of this one, is also how you can make these roles, but actually how you can follow up that these roles actually get fulfilled, and that everybody's clear about the responsibilities. And the last one is facilitate a team culture. So this is what I have for you today, and I think we can just start on the first on questions. If anybody have questions, then if somebody have some input that what they want, or a concept they want to build further on, and then we can go in the end to these habits and maybe include a few more.
Yes. This was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let me see.
So excuse me, my headset turned off, so I didn't hear if you had any question in the beginning.
No, I just said it was really interesting. What would you do if you have a team that is how to say, it has been many years or long time that they haven't have any habits, and they are just feeling that there is no use of planning anything because everything changes all the time. How could you start that kind of a team to use the habits again or develop the new habits?
Somebody have to take the responsibility. That's the first thing. If you have a habit that don't do anything, like the Scrum framework or the Agile framework or the Lean framework, the first thing is that somebody, of course, needs to take the responsibilities to do that. And then I would just force it in a way that it's in a nice way. Just okay. Now we're going to have a calendar, like a weekly calendar on Outlook, that everybody going to get exactly the same. Like felles timer. Shared meetings. So like one could create them, but everybody should have it on their calendar. So I would like schedule what I talked about. I would schedule the sprint planning. I would schedule the review, the demo, the backlog refinement, and I would like make a habit and the start of the culture, like, because in the end, like, facilitate the culture. I would just say, okay, this is how we're going to start doing it, and you can do whatever you want within this other time, but we're just going to have this every Monday at 8 o'clock, we're going to have a meeting. And it's like, in the beginning, maybe people don't like it, but if you just continue doing it, that you create a habit and you then lead by doing that habit, it will become a thing in the end, because you just doing it and they will get a habit because you doing the habit and you including them in the habit. And that's how I think. If you don't have any type of calendar, even if you don't schedule that. But I think also if you don't schedule these type of events that the Scrum teaches, you don't have Scrum in a way, because if you miss one planning or if you miss one review, then you don't follow the methodology.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's how I would. It's like it may be brutal just to say force it, but you know what I mean. Just like enforce it in a way.
Yeah. But in a way, I think also that if you are like a Scrum Master, then it is your responsibility to make sure that those meetings are held and people are attending. So.
And this is, of course, if you have a Scrum Master, this would be the Scrum Master roles. And I think that would be like the first step for Scrum Master to make the habits for the team.
Yeah. Anyone else? Questions?
Yeah, Rafael, I think this is. I agree. This is interesting, and I know the benefit of making a good habit, but I also know it can be challenging. And but what's the main challenges to this as you see it? Like the calendar you presented. I mean, I actually have it printed on my desk here. I have my own calendar like you. I look at it every day, and so I managed to pick up some of the things in my calendar, but not all the goals that I had for myself. I've slipped on some things, but you know, I'm getting there. But one thing that is well, from me struggling or challenging is that if I block time that is not necessarily part of the team, but time for myself to concentrate on things, that others in the company, not necessarily part of my team, they don't care about that. And you know, things change right now I'm working for a startup, but and things change every day. Suddenly you need to take a big decision. You need to get together, you know, and that shapes your day and week a lot. And you need to be able to sometimes say no, but that's not always possible. But what's your take on this? Do you have
Yeah, that's a question that I actually heard a lot, and like I showed a calendar, that may be an end goal. If in the beginning you start less blocks and less time, because when you start doing this, your team also you're going to learn your team that you are doing it like this, if you understand. So if you just schedule like, okay, every day I'm going to have 1.5 hour of focus block, right? You just turn off your phone, and they maybe call you 5 times, you don't take it, you complete it, and when you're finished, they call you back, sorry, I was in my focus hour. And then you just repeat this, and over time, I notice at least people tend to like build around you. If you have a structure, then they follow your structure. I don't know, it's a very weird thing, but that's just what I experience, and other people that practice this experience, that people build around you because you have a structure. Why should they interrupt that when they know that focus hour you get so much done because you're like because a thing with the focus hour, I just want to say one thing before I go to the first question you had in the sentence, is that in the focus hour, if you do it even more extreme, if you take this next week, you take a timer and you set it in 1.5 hour, and then you start doing it, you're going to see 5 minutes later, oh, it's 1 hour 25 minutes again. So it's going to be very hard, because then we're going to see how much focus we actually lost on doing multitasking, and we know that multitasking don't work. It's more task switching, if we would say it like that. So I think you just need to schedule less, not like extreme, like I saw it, like maybe once a day. And turn off your phone. Turn on the Teams and just do what you plan to do in that hour.
I think it helps. Yeah, that's a very good point. But I also think that some people are, like this approach and would desire to work like this. But some are more, work differently, and isn't it better if you are surrounded by people that have that also try to make these habits and maybe think about things in the same way, or?
Yeah, and I think that too. It's exactly that. The more people doing it, but I think like in the beginning, it becomes. I can only teach what I know by studies in self-development works. And first, I think you need to change yourself before you can change others. And that's just the thing, because if you're going to deliver a lot more, you're going to get excited and teach this from you. And people can have different different way of working, but I think like I look at the data, and data show that doing time blocks is the most productive way of completing more within the prioritized order than not having it. And it all can go down to, if you don't have a plan, if you just do what you want, it's so easy to switch task. And that is the main reason people do less in a week than more in a week. If you look at the most successful people that these studies are done on. And of course, it's this topic of discussion. It's not set in stone. But I just think that if it's implemented, and I have implemented it, and I see dramatic results almost immediately. If just keep doing it for 4 weeks, you see, oh, whoa. You want more of these blocks and more of these scheduled times. And in the end, I see like my team now know when these blocks are. And in the beginning, they didn't do it, but they saw like now they're doing it themselves. So it's like over time, the people you are with is how you are going to behave. So they say the 5 people you're with is how you are. And that is also the other way around. If you're doing something that works and people give you more recognition because you complete more, people want to do the same behavior if it's successful. And but of course, I understand your role. It's new company. It's very like flexible, maybe very agile. You can say it like that. The priority can change. But then again, if that's the case, then I would look into the actually prioritization of the company, because agile, a 2-week plan for the prioritization should stand even for stand-up. If we think about again, lean and agile methodology, it should take extraordinary meetings, extraordinary like meetup together to change sprint priority. So
Yeah.
like,
I agree.
I don't. That's my comment to that. Yeah.
Mhm. Go ahead, Aziz.
Thanks. Thanks for this valuable information, Rafal. I wonder if this, like the focus hour or the golden hour, this technique maybe made some problems or complaints from the top management, like your managers, like complaining they can't approach you when they need you, like they need a report or a piece of information or something like this. Did you see any complaints about this, or like are you on, maybe you're the director of your company or CEO, so you don't have this?
Yeah, but it's like if it is, then you just answer, okay, the direct approach you normally maybe never do, and if that once instant he tried to reach you, right? And if you don't answer and you say the reason I didn't answer because you take up your phone afterwards, this block, and the reason I didn't answer, I was focused on my task, I don't think he would be angry, to be honest.
Okay, but did you try to apply this in the whole company? This
no, this is it's just a topic I like to discuss. Like what I implement is the Scrum itself. Try to get this up and running in my company, in my team, so we don't even have a scaled Scrum, but we use like different agile methodologies within the company. But this is something I have been using with my team, and this is something I've been using with partner I work with. And I know there is a big community of people doing it like this, but it doesn't need to be like use the word Nazi, like it's so hard like I describe it, but it's just a way of thinking that knowing that multitasking is not good, knowing that the reason you have a sprint planning is to find a priority list, and then the rest of the week is like it is to complete the sprint. And then if you have scheduled these time, that will help you improve. And that is, I think, with everything in life, if you're going to be better in guitar, or if you're going to have practice or learn something, study time, it should be scheduled, because if you just take it up, it's not going to create a routine.
Yeah, I do agree, actually.
But of course, maybe they become angry you're not available, but for me it's unheard of. It's more like something you can think can happen, but I don't think it happens. And if it happened, you need to like, okay, maybe find a block, maybe the most powerful time. They say like if you wake up before everybody else, nobody will disturb you. And it's a lot of ways you can press that block in of silence.
Well, I can tell you that this works also even though you don't use Scrum or Agile. When I was working in the customer services in Telenor, we had 3 teams, 7 person in each team, and we were doing all the emailing and all the how to say back office work and with the clients. And then we didn't achieve our results of how many emails and we should do every day. And also we couldn't manage to keep us under the 24 hours reply time that we decided by ourselves that we want to achieve. So we started to look into how can we do this differently. And then we decided that every morning from 8 to 10, everybody closes that time it was called Link. It's the teams, previous teams. link and your own email, your mobile phone, everything was closed. And every team was assigned a one email queue and say, okay, you take these and you take these, and yeah. And the rule was that if you took one case, that was yours. It was not allowed to throw it back in the queue. If you couldn't answer for it, you had to put it on hold, and you could write notes, for example, if you knew who to ask, and if you didn't know the answer by yourself. But the main goal was to get rid of all the easy tasks in those 2 hours. You could listen to music, whatever, but it was not, you are not allowed to talk to anyone. You could go and get a cup of coffee or go to the toilet, but not to talk to anyone in those 2 hours. And the leader of these 3 teams, he was happy because suddenly he had 2 hours every morning. He could do all his managing stuff and nobody talked to him. And also it created a really good team, team spirit, because when it was 10 o'clock, everybody got up and they just run to each other and, I know you expert in this, how would you answer that? And everybody was so happy because they could talk and they could discuss these difficult cases, and it was allowed. And so it took something like 1 hour. It was like a buzzing every day. Everybody was happy, and then it just went back to the normal. And with that, we managed to keep all our KPIs and reach all the goals that we were supposed to have. But it was actually it's the same what you said, Rafael. This golden hour, the focus hour. So it works.
And you mentioned something it's the habit 6 mentioned in this last
yes.
slide here is about facilitate a team culture. And this is actually what the reason I think I have this, to be honest, is more of them from the sale experience I had. Like, team spirit is a very important thing. You need, like, if you sell together, you get other result than being a lonely wolf. And that can be like, I think that if I would have a new team, I would first of all, like we talked in the beginning, schedule the like most important framework within the calendar that always equal. But I would maybe find you don't need to do many of them, but like, okay, 1.5 hour together, maybe as a team, you have these focus hour bubbles. And maybe you could have like in the retrospective, you can talk about, okay, what disturbed you in this hour, and always optimize to make this holy hour better and better over time. Because you mentioned something very valuable here, the team spirit, and that the whole team was synced. So the managers did what they did, and the team did what was the most important task then for the team as a whole.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think we can just go through the habits, like if people can share their experience and maybe talk about the daily habits of improving it, since we're talking about habits. Like if we look at the customer side, like the customer you are going to deliver the release to Stack, is it any habits you are doing that have been successful, that are working? Or behaviors, maybe it doesn't need to be a habit. It can be also a behavior that over time have been working for you, that have been working with Lean and Agile for a long time.
No, I can't think any of those, basically.
Yeah. If there are none, that's okay. I'm just going through one-on-one. Maybe somebody has something on their mind, and then we discuss it. I can at least think of one within the customer side, and that is the demo. Just if we go, the demo can do so much good, just because then you schedule their time, and they like it's become a habit for them to see the demo if you have a tech product. And if you don't have a tech product, it's more a report. Like if they know every 2 weeks they can get like a good overview. If you invest a bit in graphic design too, they want to read it because it's fun to read it, right? It can be better. You can do tricks there to get their attentions. And that I think it's a good habit just to include them every second week if you have the 2-week sprint. The stakeholders.
So one thing we have is that we have some client interaction every week, like 2-3 clients, and picking up things that they might mention about the product or ideas that they have, and write a list, and then we groom that list now and then, and put some kind of score into it, and make it into the product backlog. So that's trying to have some kind of interaction every week. That's been useful.
Yeah. So here together we have come to the habit of talking with them on a regular basis. That's a big agile habit in it for itself.
Yeah.
So the next one, it's like keep teams small. This is something that I saw many mention over and over again. We have been talking about team size earlier, but let me ask a different question. Have anybody experienced the opposite, that the team became too big? No.
You mean like a agile or scrum team, or?
Yeah, so you've been working and the team have become too big, so the process is not as efficient as it should.
I mean, I've been to many sessions where you feel that it's too many people there, and then but because of that, people are not speaking up and are afraid of, different reasons. You come to a certain point when meetings can be unproductive because there are too many people. So
I have experienced that as well when we have been doing some mapping of the processes for new ERP system, for example. Then it was everybody had a meaning. They had some kind of stake in it, they thought. So they wanted to be heard, and in the end, it just didn't become anything useful because it was just small details that doesn't help us to choose any system. So that was definitely a too big of a team. So,
Yeah, so just from the words you said, I think a good habit that we together can create here is that when we feel like the team becomes too big, it's important to speak up to minimize the team and get it back on track, and maybe say, okay, here we are too many people. Maybe we should make two teams or something like that. Collaborate. Sorry for that. That is a very important agile habit to have a very good collaboration between teams, cross teams, and management, and within this team itself. Do anybody have any good habits they have been doing to increase the collaborate within the team? Maybe it's unconscious, but something you notice, oh, that was something I did before, but I don't do it anymore. And
well, it can be just a simple Slack message, but for us in product, or for me in product, to communicate or keep sales up to date, for example, and also we also have another team, customer implementation. They are in the outskirts of the product team, but to keep them updated by just can be a quick Slack message or a quick short notification. That's always positive, even though it's rather short and sweet. But that's something we try to do, and that kind of works. A challenge for me or for us in my type of company is that half of the organization is 9 hours away. So when it's 6 o'clock in the evening Norwegian time, then the rest of the company come to the office. That's a challenge. To put it mildly. You know, then how do you handle that?
You need to change your sleep cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. I can see that. Yeah, but I can mention one thing I started doing in the Fjordkraft that I felt is very good for the samarbeid through the departments. It's that I work in a function. I do some data, master data management, which is a very central role within the company. So it's like I need to communicate with the whole company and every department in different ways. And what I have implemented is like every kvartal. I'm not sure what is in English. Quarter. Every quarter, I have like a stakeholder meeting where I focus on exactly just one thing, and that is the samarbeid, the samarbeid factor, where I just gather everybody. I show them, okay, this is what I have planned, or you have all give me orders on, and now we're going together, and you can fight, you can do politics, everything, but just talk about my topic then, or my field, because it's within. And that way, over time, they get educated of what we are doing, as well as I see just within, just after doing this a few times, that samarbeid between departments within the data field, maybe they never talked with them with each other before about this topic, but now they communicate together because we created this safe place of them to communicate about the topic maybe they never talked about before, even if it's to my project benefit, but I try to do their benefits as well, and that have been working very well. Next thing is measure your process, progress, sorry for that. The beauty about these agile programs is that you can, in a way, measure them with this velocity of your story points. But a way that I like to measure process as well is just if we talk about the habits I talked about in the calendar, it's just example that if you say to yourself, okay, now I'm going to look at emails in the end of day, just as an example in this case, and I'm going to do this Monday to Friday, right? And then I use a streak system. I take up on a calendar, like I have a physical calendar, and I just hook up. Okay, if I did it Monday, I hook it up, right? If I did it next day, I hook it up. And then I do stars, like for every day you get a star. And if I lose that streak, so I have like a streak system, I need to reflect over why I did lose this, right? And that's never good in the end. And I also have then the reward. If I have a 2-week streak, I do something nice for myself. In my case, I put up extra money to do holidays. So then I add to my holiday pot. But that works. Just how I measure, like, then I don't measure the process in itself, but I measure the habit in a way that I always need accountability because I look at it every day, because every day when I finish, I look at my calendar. What did I do wrong? Right? What did I do right? And I have a lot of these streak system, and I just start doing that. And when I start seeing, oh, here's a lot of white space, like you didn't do it for a few days, then I know, okay, now I need to do something. What's going on? And then I go back and maybe start over again. And then also accountability partner. That helps a lot. If you find somebody that you need to check in with every week just to see how you done, that I think can be a very good thing. Yeah, that's in a habit way how I measure process, but in a Scrum way I use the velocity and how far we come in the projects.
Yeah, now I know why I failed. I downloaded an app that was measuring how often I took the phone and how long I used it and everything, you know. And I was thinking that I want to reduce the screen time on my phone and not use it that much. So this app promised me that this is gonna make you to reduce it. And yeah, it was very statistical. I got to know a lot of information about how many hundreds of times of a day I lifted up my mobile phone, how many hours I used to just scroll everything. But the thing is, I never rewarded myself of if I managed to do it less. So in the end, I was just pissed off because all the plinging it made, that now you have exceeded your daily goal. So just remove the whole app. So that was not, there wasn't any habit coming of that. But the thing that was that I didn't put up a serious goal of it, and I didn't do the reward part. Of course, I know that should be done. So other thing that I have succeeded on, and that goes for the partner that you said, after Christmas holidays, I have started to going almost every day. We go for a lunch walk with one of my friends here. So we walk between 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And the only days we don't do it is if any of us has a meeting that just lasts too long, that we can't find a time for that. But otherwise, the weather doesn't matter anything. And because I have that person, if I don't ask her, should we go for a walk, or then she comes and asks me. So we are kind of checking on each other, and we're just keeping each other accountable that we're going to take the walk. And it works. So now I'm walking, between 4 and 5 kilometers every day.
Nice.
Yeah. So and it started like 2 days a week, and then now we're going 5 days a week, and it's really good. But I would never done it if I've done it alone. Yeah. So yeah.
Some good ideas there, and also this what you mentioned to track the habit itself and make a scoring. That's actually a good idea. That's what I should do with my calendar. Just basically make a check if I did it or not.
And that you can do like one of the thing that you don't need to achieve every habit, but like if you start focusing, okay, if you're going to just think like even bigger picture, within a year, there's 12 months, and your goal should be like, okay, 12 new habits within a year. Then you can like use at least 1 month for one habit you focus on, because the habits needs to be the lifestyle in the end. That's like the unconscious behavior that you're just going to do, because it's like she's doing now. She goes on the training, or she's do this walk every single day, and now it's just became a habit. You know, this is the clock, we're going out, and you even feel like bad if you don't do it, and then you know it's a good habit. But the thing is that if you stop doing it one time. They say it like, okay, if you go to training and you're home one time, you are sick. Second time you have flu. Third time you're dead. So it's like also you need a self-discipline to, even if you don't want to do something, do it. And that is something I feel it's most of the time I'm not motivated to start on it, but when I do it, I get motivated because I know, okay, I started.
It's a good point. And also just to maybe not be too ambitious and I think I was too ambitious with my calendar. I had so many habits I wanted to build up over every day. So maybe just pick and choose and start out somewhat slower. Like you said, 12 months, 12 habits. That's enough.
Yeah. And I just hope you see the way, like in the presentation, my goal was just the way of thinking about this topic. That was the whole point. Is like it isn't any faucet, but these are tested methods that have a lot of study behind it, and it do increase the productivity because of the switching and don't having a plan. It is just doomed to failure. At least not failure, but less productivity.
Mm.
Yeah. I haven't heard about the CEO that don't have a plan. maybe it's a reason because they lose their job very quickly. Yeah. But most people, like very high achievers, do have a plan and schedule. And if they don't make the schedule, somebody makes the schedule for them. And that's true. If you don't make your schedule, somebody else will use your time.
Yeah, that's a good. That definitely a good point. If you don't make this calendar, somebody else will take your time. That's the core.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Aziz and the last name, Katarina. Do you have any input you want to share with us from what we talked about?
Well, I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Great. Well, I enjoyed your presentation very much. I think, and I overall agree with what was said earlier, that, for example, if you want to set aside some focus time, it can be really challenging to communicate to other people that during this time you're not available. But yeah, and also I had the same feeling that sometimes I'm just trying to include very tons of new habits in my calendar, and at the end of the day it didn't work out. So I think it's good to start with something small, and probably also I think is for habits the thing that you have not mentioned. It's but it can be very useful. It's basically you need a trigger, because for example, if you want to start doing something, and for example, each day when you just need to put it in your existing routines, and when something will, and then it can become an integral part, and you will spend a way less efforts on it. So basically, I think it's not only about the time when you're gonna do it, but also about the place and like some other things that surrounds you.
Yeah, the trigger part is very important, actually. That's why I think one of the reason that like I know a lot of like articles write about how good the home office is, but I'm like 100% sure that the productivity in itself on a total scale have been decreasing, because now people have the work habits within the home where they have so many different triggers, like where they sit in that place, that triggered happens and stuff like that. So I think overall, like the triggers you're talking about is very important, and that is a part of the habit loop, actually having this trigger. But that's the most, I find it the most difficult topic to talk about within the habits, actually, the trigger part. How do you create a trigger? But that's something that I think happens when you do it over and over again for a very long time, and then you can plan these triggers. But of course, it's not so easy to plan a trigger. It's more like when you do the task, you have a trigger that you have a routine within these training or reading.
So what do you mean exactly by trigger here? That like a setting or a context that make you do it, or what do you mean?
I think like in the trigger, I don't know if this is what she meant, but like in the habits, when they talk about trigger, it can be like, okay, every night, you're going to the toilet, and then it triggers you take up the toothbrush and then you have the process, and the trigger is that you go to the toilet before you go to bed. And then trigger the process. But I don't know if that was what
yeah, it's very close to what I mean. For example, I'm personally doing some reading every day after I brush my teeth before I go to bed. So it's basically you just need to try to insert your new habit under some routines that you're doing already, and then it will be easier to start with it and to stick with it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Asis, do you have any thoughts?
No, I don't think so, Rafa.
Huh? It's okay. It's okay. I just asked to include.
Is it okay? I thought I have to pay some money if I don't come with a piece of information.
But like you study, right? You talked about you do these Scrum courses and this process. But just say like, okay, now you purchase a course. How do you like finish the course? Do you just do it when you feel to do the course, or do you make a plan? You schedule to complete this course?
To be honest, I really don't like to plan a lot. I like to leave some spontaneism, to be spontaneous in life. Like I purchased like this course. I took this agile course in November last year. I paid $250 for it, and I paid $400 for the exam. And I thought like I'm gonna sit for the exam in January this year, and till now I haven't taken this exam. But so I leave. I don't like to plan a lot, but also I didn't want to I changed my plan because I didn't want to take the exam just for the sake to take the exam. I wanted to understand the subject more until I think I understood it very well. Then I can take the exam, right? Because recently they have been taking lots of courses and sitting for the exam, passing the exam, but especially for the courses you didn't have hands-on experience, it's difficult to keep them in mind. Even if you study and you take exam, but afterwards you feel like you lost all information because you didn't have this experience. So that's why I learned with this agile course. I wanted to study more and more and more to get the knowledge, because the value, if we think about from the agile perspective, the value is to understand agile, not to take exam and get the certificate. Then you feel like you didn't get hold of the information. So really, honestly, in life in general, I don't really plan very well. To be honest, my plans are very.
But just a comment, just to play the devil's advocate here, Aziz, and I don't mean it in a rude way, but maybe since you didn't took the exam, maybe you need a plan. Maybe you need better habits. I'm just asking. You don't have to answer that, but on that note, I totally acknowledge that that people have different approaches, and people are different, and people work in a different way to perform. So that's just a fact. So
And also, there are other factors we have to take in consideration. Like, to be honest, my productivity in winter in Norway drops very, 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 very high, or it goes to very low level in winter. Like when, so that's why I don't know. Maybe I left it like till spring or summer. So when things get like we get more sunshine, or so yeah. But they have to admit, really, like planning. I'm not very well in planning, to be honest. Or I don't like even planning for things. I like to leave things like open, spontaneous. So yeah.
Maybe a thing from this course or this meetup today is that I think, like, let's do an experiment, Aziz. Now you have a lot of accountability partners, and let's do a fun thing just to give this a try. Of course, if you take the challenge, like, schedule 1 hour daily in your calendar where you're going to take course, not the exam. Don't think about take free courses. It doesn't matter the price. If price target is the problem to not doing the certificate, that's okay. So if you finish with one topic, go to the next one, but try to schedule 1 hour each day now till the next meetup, and use the strike system. Like I tell now, just find a paper, make 1 to 30, and then you take a star or whatever each time you completed 1 hour. I think really, if you do this and just see how much a routine can change your life, you will be shocked by the result and how far you learn. Because it's like when you're learning, okay, you don't need to use it, but when you start to using it, because it's a reason you do these courses, you in some way want this information so you can once implement it or use it, or maybe this information is a part of something else and you need this to understand the other concept. So I think it's just my personal thoughts. It's like here you get free accountability partners, and if you do it for 1 month, I think, Aziz, you're going to be a lot better in agile and this topic than doing it when you feel to do it, because normally we never feel to do it, and when we feel to do it, maybe it's very efficient, but then it's not the habit, and as a project manager, I think if that's the role you want to fill, planning is like it's one of the top skills you need to do. Even if we don't like it, it's like I don't know any project managers that don't plan. Because
I will try. I'll do my best.
It's nothing to set you on the spot, but I just feel like you need it. Like it's a very good thing, and it's something that can increase happiness and everything around in life as total.
I'll try to commit to the same thing here.
Awesome. Okay.
This time I'm gonna do the whole mobile thing differently, and my goal is to set the mobile phone away at least 1 hour before I go to bed. I start with 15 minutes earlier, and then I go 1 month every day, a little bit longer.
Sounds good.
Yes.
And then we are together in this, and that's really what the meetup should be about, like improving and helping and sharing and accountability is one thing, and I think if we can do this and just actually that people do follow up just after this meeting, right? 30 days, find something you want to, and don't be scared if the result is not good. Then just you need to reflect it in the next meetup. Just talk about it. Say how many you did, what was your best streak, and instead of excuse maybe where you didn't make it, let's see. Okay, what can we do till next month to make this streak even higher or something like that. And I have to say that, Birta, I tried that the thing before bedtime. That's pretty hard. That's a big thing. That's a hard one. I tried so many times and failed every time.
But it's like I'm preaching to my kids that you're not using the mobile phone in the bedroom before you go to bed. So if they can do it, why can't I?
You need somebody to tell you. You need your parents to tell you.
Trust me, if I tell this to my kids, they gonna keep me accountable.
Even me, I think this is one of the things I suffer with. Like if I have a wife, things could be much better when you have like someone accountable to, like life partner. So things becomes very more planned.
Yeah, that is true, because then you have somebody else who can push you if you don't do it by yourself. Yeah, I know. I'm very, very lazy. If I don't have to do something, I don't want to do it, you know? And I'm always trying to find an easy way of doing things. So I absolutely need somebody to push me to do things like this, because what is more lazy than just lying in the bed and scrolling the mobile phone?
Yeah. No, like honestly, I really lose like motivation very fast. Like it's easy to only when I have like deadlines.
Yeah.
When I have the deadlines. Now this is a good technique I follow. Like when I took PMP last year, so I saw that I'm very lazy to take it. So I booked for the exam like 1 month later. Like I mean, I planned or like booked in advance for the exam in 1 month. Then this pushed me to plan and sit for and study for the exam. So this is one of the techniques I do, like making like time boxing or the deadlines for things. Yeah, but this is the internal motivation. Really, sometimes I miss very much.
Yeah.
One thing, remember also now during Corona, there are many feel, I see that in the company and also in my surroundings, and I feel it myself sometimes. It's like it's been you've been home for a long time, and this collaboration through teams over a long period like this, it's not optimal, and I see that I miss being amongst the colleagues at the office, right? Interact directly with people, and it's been a year like this now. It's been somewhat on and off, but it's not ideal in the long run, and this affects people, and it's affecting the productivity. And I also see now you're speaking about the winter, Aziz. Today was a beautiful day, and the sun is higher in the sky, and I see it shines into my office, my home office differently. It comes into the window now, and you instantly feel a little bit, spring is coming. Things are getting looking bright, and also when it comes, it is like that. And so there are things that affect all people in these times.
Yeah, and especially for me, sunshine is very crucial.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's very because
you come from a different place where the sunshine was all the time, and now you're here.
And really, sometimes I regret I wasn't taking much in adequate of sunshine back home. So I missed those days that I missed out on sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Libya.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Get up. Between brackets.
Mm. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Libya? Have you met someone? Have you worked with? Or?
I have worked. I worked in Dubai for a year,
Mm.
and I worked with a girl from Libya,
Mm.
and so I know quite a lot about Libya, and I know you have a great ski resort.
Mm.
My boss in Dubai, he went there with his whole family. What's the ski? There is one ski resort, isn't it? That is really good.
Now we are confusing Lebanon with Libya. I think you are describing Lebanon.
Oh, that's Lebanon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, because Lebanon has ski resort. I know.
Yeah,
But
Libya.
many people like confuse them.
Yeah, well, of course, I know Libya also, but in a different way. Yeah, I know the war, I know that, so Gaddafi, yeah.
North Africa.
So how are things there now? Is it becoming stable or?
There is like a light of hope this week. Like today we had there is a new government, national unity government have been established, and today they are discussing the establish of this government or given confidence to the government. But we are unlucky with very corrupted political class. You know the kind of the political systems that took place after the communism failed in East Europe. These corrupted governments.
Mm.
You know, so
Yep.
we have very corrupted political people ruling the country, plus militias, like real militias, controlling the security of the country. So it's the situation is very difficult, but I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic that things are going to get better one day, because you know life is upside and downs. History repeats itself. Sometimes bad, good, then things get better.
Yeah.
But it's pity. Libya is very, very rich. It's really rich country. We have the same amount of oil like Norway, and even cheaper, and cheaper oil because it's all in the desert, and almost most of it comes out naturally.
Oh.
So and very few people, like 7 million, almost barely 7 million.
But the area is more. Is it bigger than Norway?
It's like 6 times bigger than Norway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we say here in Norway that people are living they have very long distance between each other, so there it's even more.
It's
Okay.
even more Libya. So sometimes, like I used to work in the desert in the oil company, 1,500 kilometers away from home. 1,500 kilometers.
Okay.
So we are number 16, ranked like area in the world. We are like, I don't know, 5-6 times Norway, 4 times France. It's a very huge country. 90% is desert.
Okay, so the population is quite crowded in very few major cities then, Tripoli and others.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we are close to finish.
Yeah.
I think it was a very interesting topic. I have to say that it's very fun. And now we all have a streak system to follow to the next time. I will join you as well with a new habit, just to be a part of the challenge. So my thing will be fasting. Yeah.
What you will?
Faste perioder.
Intermittent fasting.
That's correct. 1 hour more than I do. So I do now 13 hours a day. Now I will do 14 hours a day.
Oh God.
Monday to Friday. I will join your streak as well.
You said like fasting, like you stop eating and drinking, or?
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You do that 13 hours a day?
I do that now 13. I was at 16 a day for 3 years, and I fall apart in Corona. And now I need to start up again. So I start with 13 hours. And now, since I was very motivated, everybody going to do, I'm going to be on your team as well. I'm going to take 14 hours.
But why does that help you?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
What's the goal? What's the motivation, or?
No,
why?
it's just the science show that it's better. It's a lot of healthy benefits, energy and weight control. Yeah. So that's the case. You can read about intermittent fasting. It's named. Yeah, I was at 16 hours for a very long period, but as life, it's like the habits. I have to recreate a habit now because I pulled off. And it's like you can't start on 16 hours right away. You have to like slowly build up the time from like 10 hours, 2 months, and then go 11, and then. So I felt motivated now when you all committed, and I want to commit as well. And then I thought I need to say that loud. So yeah, you can be accountable next time.
So during Ramadan, do you then go all in, or?
I don't have Ramadan.
Ramadan is 1 month later, by the way. I see you on Ramadan.
I have never done it, but I think I don't know. How long is Ramadan?
1 month.
1 month fasting? No. When do they eat? How many hours a day?
Before
It's like from.
Isn't it you can eat when the sun goes down until it comes up again?
Yeah,
So it
okay.
depends
So
where
it's
in the
around
world you are.
13 hours. Yeah, so I have Ramadan daily.
Right.
But do you drink water during?
Yeah, water.
Yeah.
I drink water. So it's
Yeah.
just anything that can, because after 13 hours, you get produced ketosis. Ketosis is when you use fat as energy instead of carbohydrates and protein.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very interesting, but it have been helped me a lot because I was a very big guy before, and this changed my physique and life and when I first started. Yeah.
It's called keto, I think, keto or something like this.
Keto.
Yeah, ketosis is a keto diet is a bit different because then you don't have carbs, you only eat protein and fat. But fasting is just you have a window of eating and you have a window of not eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to see you next time.
Yeah, together we are strong, right?
Yeah. Aziz, you have a question from Katerina. Which course are you taking?
It's called PMI ACP. It's Agile Certified Practitioner from the PMI, American Project Management Institute. It's really very helpful. Like if you are going for Scrum, you can start with this course because it has very like useful information, huge information. When I studied Scrum afterwards, I found it very easily because this course starts with like principles, like the whys, why we're doing this, why we're doing that. So it's very. I can write the course.
Yeah, if you write it in the chat.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've taken some other courses, but I never heard about the ones that you just mentioned.
So what do you do, Katarina? Do you work as a project manager now, or what is your title?
I would rather call it Scrum Master. But I would say I'm just very freshly baked Scrum Master because basically I'm replacing the guy as a Scrum Master that went on leave, and I will have this responsibility at least for a couple of months. And yeah, I'm not sure how it will, what kind of title I will have afterwards.
But Scrum Master, yeah.
But for now, I would say Scrum Master mainly.
Yeah. You should have a day, have a presentation to us with your experience as a new Scrum Master. That would be a very interesting topic for, I think, for our meetups. Like, how was it to begin as a take the role as a Scrum Master for the beginning?
Yeah, maybe at later point of time, it would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I don't feel ready yet, but yeah, maybe in a couple of months.
Yeah. I think we have a topic for next month. So yeah, a couple of months could be okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we are finished, and thank you all for listening, and it was very nice.
Thank you, Rafael. Very.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.